Morning everyone and welcome to Finish Your Plate. Christmas ham is a great dish on its own, but there's always a lot of leftovers. So what do you do with them? A lot of people like to make split pea soup out of it, and that's a very classic Finnish thing. One of my favorites though is to make pork ramen from the leftover parts, because you can use the leftover ham here as a topping, and you can also use the broth from the pan drippings. It makes a really flavorful ramen broth. So join me and I'll show you how to make this ramen dish from leftover Christmas ham. If you're like me, you have a little bit of finished Christmas ham left. So I figured I'll make some quick ramen with it, because I've already made other soups like split pea soup from it, but the ham goes very well in a ramen type of dish too. Of course, especially since I saved some of the pan drippings too from after baking the ham, and those make a really excellent broth in a lot of soups, including ramen. So let's first turn on our pan and let's pour in our leftover ham drippings. You may want to taste it first though, because it could be very salty. If it is, add more water to it. I don't think you'll ever encounter a situation where it's going to be not salty enough, but if that ever happens, you could of course add things like soy sauce, for example, to add a little bit of saltiness. For some extra richness, I'm just going to add a little bit of ham fat in here too. And while my broth is coming to a temperature, I'm just going to slice up a few slices of my ham to top the ramen with. There we go. And let's taste our broth, see if it needs any seasoning, salt, maybe water. I think it could use a little bit of water. It is very strong. So I added about a cup of water into the broth. If you feel that it needs maybe a little bit of salt, but not that much, you could also try adding some MSG into it. MSG is going to be present in soy sauce, in mushrooms, and other things as well. But adding just a little bit of MSG might just bring it that little bit of extra saltiness that you're looking for without adding too much additional salt. Other things that you might consider adding are all kinds of fish broths, smoked fish sauces that you might get from an Asian store. But again, those will contain a lot of salt, and the ham broth, of course, is already salty, so that might not be an option. Now that our broth is ready, I'm just going to put it over here, wait. And I'm going to take my cast iron pan, I'm going to fry up these slices of ham. I'm going to add a little bit of this pork fat. And we're going to fry up our ham pieces. Now that my ham has fried, I'm going to take some of this Chinese cabbage that I washed. I'm just going to shred it. I'm just going to use the green parts only. Otherwise, you could use the stems too, but you should probably blanch them so they're a little bit more tender. There we go. Now my broth is ready, my pork is ready, so I'm going to take some of these ramen noodles and I'm just going to quickly cook them. When you cook ramen noodles, don't cook them in a broth. Cook them separately instead, and make sure to drain the water completely before you put the noodles in your bowl. Okay, my water's come to a boil. So I'm going to drop in my noodles. And these are going to cook very quickly. Just going to keep moving them so this way they don't stick to each other. I have my bowl ready. And now the noodles are done. I'm going to turn the heat off and I'm going to strain them. So I drained my noodles. The noodles go in. A little bit of this cabbage, shredded cabbage. Of course, a piece of the Christmas ham. Some scallions. A few herbs. And of course you have to have a soft boiled egg. There we go, perfect. There we go. And now last, we're going to pour in our broth. And here we go. Pork ramen made from leftover finished Christmas ham. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.